Welcome, everyone, to The Flipping Truth with Wes and David. We're just part-time resellers on eBay, DibDit, and other platforms, or wherever we can fit into our life. Each week, we talk a little honestly about what's working, what's not working, what we're learning along the way. And we're doing all this without a lot of hype and extra talk. We just want to talk about reselling. Wes, how you doing?
Doing great. But I figured out, David, I'm a full-time part-timer.
Well, yeah. Well, I kind of feel that way too. Some days, I talk about how many hours we put in, so it does sometimes feel like it's full time. But I'm going to talk this week, Wes. We're going to talk about something I think every reseller deals with, right? The death pile, or maybe for this episode, let's try to take that death out of it and call it what it really should be called: the money pile.
Money piles, money mountains.
It's the inventory that's just been bought, but it's never been listed. So,
and we're actually going to show a few items that we have tonight.
I think we're going to try and do a little show and tell and just show some items that embarrassingly I haven't listed yet. But first question is, do you have a death pile?
Oh yeah, I do. Actually, I've got several of those in different bins. Those 27-gallon black bins with the yellow tops. I have several of those. Yeah. But now I will say, though, this past weekend, my wife and I, we have been sorting through, pulling stuff out that's set there for a while. And when I say a while, I'm talking 3 years.
Yeah.
And that stuff is leaving, and it has left. We've moved it on over to a thrift store that we frequent quite often. So hopefully we don't rebuy our stuff.
That's a concern. I hadn't thought about that, but that is a concern. So, and I have a death pile too. I mean, and honestly, I will tell you up till about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, I had my death pile completely done. I had it completely done. I built it back up again, but it's just things that, that I buy in bulk. We buy a lot of things, but do you think, is a death pile a sourcing problem or a discipline problem? What do you think it is?
I think it's both, but for me, it's more of a discipline problem. And that's folded into time management because of every single little job I have going on. I'm much better with it in the summertime. I'm more disciplined with it. The piles still grow, but it's not as rapid as it grows during like basketball season, because I only have a certain amount of time I can go source. I'll go source before the games, and I'll grab items and I'll think, oh, these are really cool, and I'll take them right to my death pile. Yeah. And I'm not very disciplined with it. I need to list it, get it on there, and keep going.
Yeah, I think it's a two-sided sword too. Because when you think about it, it is kind of a sourcing problem, because if you know that you're sitting on right now 8,000 video games and you haven't got them listed, why would you go buy another bundle of video games, right? It's kind of like, it's that kind of thing. It can be, that can be discipline as well, but discipline enough to know that, hey, I already have more than I need. I envy sometimes people that have their inventory system set up where they say, I have 2 bins. This is all I'm going to buy of that. And when it's full, I'm not buying any more of that. That's not a bad way of doing it. Oh, yeah. But it's also challenging, because when we're outsourcing, we do find those opportunities. I just know that I'm probably going to cherry pick the items out of there that are going to sell the fastest. And I think I'm going to try to, I'm always thinking about, I'm going to return my income as fast as I can. So I'll pull out all the items that I know I'm going to be able to sell, and I'll sell them a little faster, and I'll list those. And then unfortunately, what ends up happening is I get a bunch of stuff that sits, nice stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. It sits, and I just don't have time to list that because I'm listing something else. If I set up my game listing or something like that, I just don't have time. So part of it's discipline, but at the same time, I'm not going to stop buying those big buys. I'm going to keep doing what I do. And it's sometimes hard to back out of it and say, no, I'm not going to do it, especially for someone like you in an area where you can't source all winter long. Right. So building up that inventory sometimes is a way to kind of make sure that you have stuff to list all the time. So I think like I said, it can kind of go two ways, but at the same time, it doesn't do any good if it just never gets done. And I think that's where this problem lies.
Right. How many big ticket items do you not have listed?
I've got two of these systems, and I've got one Wii system. I've got a PS2, a PS3, and a PS1 that I have not been able to test, and they're not listed. And I'm debating on keeping some of them for testing games anyway, but the other ones I need to test and sell. I also have this. And Nerf sword. I bought this last September at Flea Across Florida, and if you look online, it sells for I've seen it $65 to $75. There's no reason. And at first I thought, well, it's because I don't want to ship it, but it'll fit in the 6x6 by whatever size box. Right. So, it's an excuse. I haven't had it sits in a corner and in the other room, and I guess I don't look at it. So honestly, I have money there. And as an example, I purchased about last year, sometime towards the end of the year, or it was probably October, I bought two dolls from Monty Python's The Holy Grail. I bought the doll was the Black Knight, and the other one was the guard, the French guard, the abusive one. And they sat on my shelf. I just kept forgetting. I was like, I don't have those listed. I listed them 2 weeks ago. They both sold within a week. So, and sold for, I made $40, $45 off of each one. So yeah, I mean, I think it is kind of one of those things where it's kind of uncomfortable. We do have it. I have some big dollar stuff. I just haven't really got a chance to get to it. And it's probably just because chose to do other things. Right.
Well, we both agree it's a dual problem. Right. It's here and it's there. So
it is. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you. And as I said, if I had to guess how much money's in my death pile, I mean, that Wii system, I've seen it sell for $100, $115. This sword, I mean, I probably have $300 that could easily, sell right off the bat with just a few items, right? But it is tying up capital. I mean, that's the actual, when you start looking at what's the actual cost of your death pile, is it just storage or lost opportunity? I think it really is a little both, right? Because
it is.
You only have so much space.
Mine though is becoming a storage problem.
Right.
It's like a cancer that just connects and it just keeps growing and growing. So that's why we are taking time to cut away a lot of this stuff that we just absolutely know it's not going to sell. Like, you have a lot of plush and a lot of hats and just things that you picked up. You're thinking, oh yeah, I can sell that. You buy another one, and then you buy another one. You're like, wait a minute, I've got 6 of those.
Yeah. No, I've been there, done that. Yeah. So yeah, you start actually looking at the actual cost of what your death pile is. It is tying up your capital. Mm-hmm. It's a missed market timing, because I can think of, I have comic books that I need to list that I missed the opportunity probably to run those. I should have run some Deadpool, different things when the movie was hot. I didn't do it. Worse than that, it slows your cash flow down, but it's also a mental thing, right? If you keep looking at that every day, it is I talked about this in one of my videos recently. I talk about slaying the monster. If you slay a monster, if you got a monster, you beat it when it's little, but if you let it get too big, it's harder to get to. And it's the same thing with that death pile. It is like, you look at it and you're like, oh God, every time you go and look at it, it's like, I know I got to do something with it. So I don't,
up here.
It does. So that's why I said it, it's hard. Why is it hard to list? I mean, what do you think? Is it easier to list it or easier just to go buy something? I mean, it's easier to buy something.
I think a lot of resellers do like to shop. We like to buy stuff.
We're hunters.
And as easy as listing can be, I think we have some sort of mental block with it. That just for whatever reason, I can do 5 listings here in a little while, and the next thing you know, it's 3 days later, and you're still. Now, to be fair though, all the jobs that I'm involved in, just like tonight, I had a basketball game that I went and reffed. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really allow me a lot of time during the season to do certain things. But now you showed some of your stuff. I'm going to kind of show some of my stuff. This first one I'm actually wearing. This is a Brave shirt jersey. It's got the name on the back and the number. I've had this for about 2 months and never bothered to list it. It's it is a super nice shirt. It really is.
It's part of your inventory. It's part of your wardrobe now.
Well, no, it's not, because we talked off camera about grabbing some things that we haven't sold or listed, And this is one thing I grabbed. Now, I did have 2 other items, but I went to Goodwill right before my game tonight, and I spent about 15 minutes. One of the things I got was this Elvis 68 special metal sign.
Nice.
So
I like that.
Couldn't leave that. It's Elvis. But
no, it's Elvis. I couldn't have left it either.
So this is a new money pile problem. I just got it. It's not listed. Okay.
Yeah, it probably will take a while to get it listed.
Well, no, there's going to be a challenge that you and I are going to do.
Okay. All right.
Here's the second one.
No, that's a good find.
Check those out.
Those are clean too.
Yeah, they are clean. They're nice.
Yeah, those are nice. That's a good
So I think what the challenge is, Dave, what we need to do is these 3 items that we've showed. We need to, as soon as we let our show out, like whenever we put it out, as soon as we put it up, we're going to put our items on our store, and let's see if those things sell.
Yeah, we're going to see. Yeah, I got to figure out how to photograph this thing, but yeah.
That's a challenge. So we can talk about it next week, and let's see.
Yeah, let's see how it does. I want to see what it does. Yeah, I mean, and that's part of the thing, though, is like there's certain items in your death pile, to be honest with you, that we avoid because they're more work. I mean, let's be honest. Testing electronics. I mean, I'm sure I know it turns on. I just haven't tested the whole thing to try it. Cleaning items, you got to clean the shoes. You got to research, big collectibles or anything like that. Or if the other one that I avoid a lot is, and a lot of people do it, is when it's complicated shipping. Right? I don't want to ship it. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to ship that. Or I gotta go find a box first before I even list it, because I don't want to have to sell it and then have to go scramble to find a box in the next day because I ship next day. So I think that, those are the things that kind of lead to why we don't do the listing when we need to. So, but I think, I don't know. Sometimes
would it be prudent, David, to when you are, let's say you go to an estate sale and you're looking at a certain item, would it be prudent to look at it and put a box mentally around it and see what you'd have to come up with to ship it?
I do that every time. I mean, that's what I look at. So, I mean, little items, I don't worry about it. I have boxes that fit it. Right. But if I'm looking at something big, it's the first thing that hits me. Like, I bought 2 years ago, I bought some blow molds because everybody was saying buy blow molds. Well, I bought them really cheap. And then when I went to list them, I was like, oh my gosh, these boxes are huge. And so then you got to figure out how much to charge for shipping. You're worried about if you're going to make the money back and all that. So, I mean, I procrastinated a little bit on it, and they sat there and sat there and sat there. But you know what? As soon as I listed them, they sold within 2 weeks. And I just found a box and shipped it. It worked fine. But I don't know. I mean, and that's kind of the thing, I guess. Have you had something in your death pile that you sat on, and then you listed and it sold immediately? Because I did with those dolls.
Wow. I have. It's happened several times before. What the thing is, it's not so much what I sold. It's I'm kicking myself because I could have had that months ago. You mean to tell me I was sitting on that and I made X amount of dollars for it? Just like I'll give you an example. And I had this, I think, on our Finder Flippers Resale podcast. I wore the white Peyton Manning jersey. Okay, from the Super Bowl, and it had Super Bowl 50 patch on it and everything. I just sold that thing for $70. I took forever to list it.
Yeah, I've done the same thing.
So now I did sell it to one person, and then they wanted to cancel orders, canceled it, and it sold the very next day to somebody else.
Yeah. I mean,
great jersey.
But I think that's great. I mean, but when you think about it, and that's why I think we call a death pile as kind of a, that's what everybody calls it. But honestly, I think it has to be called a money pile because there is money in there to be made. And, the other thing you can kind of think about is you don't always have to, there's other avenues and places you can sell that too, right? So if the item is too big, you can list it on Facebook Marketplace. If it's items that you have a bunch of and you don't know if you want to do it, you can go on one of the live auction sites like what we do on DibDit, DibDit.com, guys. You can go out there and buy it and sell it there too. And some of that stuff sells really well. So you may not be turning as much profit, but you're at least moving your items. You're at least recouping the money that you spent on it. Because, hopefully that we're buying things cheap and selling it for a little bit better, that's the whole point. So there's a lot of opportunity in places that we can do that with. But I mean, I think, and I don't know, I think of some ideas, Wes, that we could talk about, that if someone was feeling overwhelmed by their death pile, what do you think some steps are that they could take just this week to get through some of it?
Well, I'm going to start myself, and starting tomorrow, whenever we put the video out, the 3 items that I showed, I'm going to have them listed, ready to go, and I'm going to put them up. But what somebody can do is just simply go through your death pile and pull 2, 3, 4, 5 items out and just get those listed. It's a very, very simple process. I think about the people that are getting into reselling, and I don't really want this to scare them,
No.
but if you can find your niche, what you really want to sell, and focus on that, and some of the things that we've been talking about here on our Flipping Truth, and narrow it down quicker. That's something I wish I'd have known early on. But you have to make some mistakes to really. I feel like it's not really a mistake; it's a learning opportunity.
Well, I think that might be a whole nother episode to talk about, because really and truly, if you're starting reselling, it's hard. And I tell people ask me, well, how do you get into reselling? I said, it's really easy. Go around your house and sell the stuff that you've been holding on to that you don't need. But even if you're doing that, I mean, that's intimidating, whether it's called whether you think it's a death pile or money pile, whatever it is, you have stuff that you're just been sitting on and storing. List those items, list a few items, take the time and set aside a time that you can go and actually do the photographs, because sometimes just doing the photographs is half the battle. Once you have the photographs, you can start on the listing. You can also sort your stuff by, cherry pick the easiest things first. Take those things that are immediately, you can go, boom, I'll pull that out and do that really quick. I think that's a really good way of doing it. Or just pick 2 or 3 high dollar items that are worth it and just list those. I know personally, I work just like you do. I work all day. It's really hard to sit down at night and do listings, and I'm doing 100 other things typically and trying to do stuff. So I will set aside either time on the weekend and just set aside 2 or 3 hours and just do nothing but photograph. That's all I do is photograph items and move them. And then when I'm sitting around and just needing to relax a little bit in my comfy chair, I list them. I go on eBay and I list them. So there's a lot of ways you can do it, but you just have to be disciplined enough to set that time aside and, do it. So, I mean, the first
how far ahead have you ever been, David, on your listings? In other words, like, I'll give you an example. I've gone on vacation before,
mm-hmm.
and I have purposely listings sitting there ready to put up, and every day I'll put 5 up.
Yep.
And I'll give nothing. I got to one point I was 35 to the good.
Yeah. No, you'll be impressed. I have 155 in scheduled right now, and I have 162 drafts. So, So I do this, but I have to do that because I have to work in batches. That's the only way I can do it. So there's a lot of people that can do 2 or 3 a day or a couple a day. If that's what you can do that. Anything you can do. Personally, I have to work in batches. So I will take a weekend and I will work 2 to 3 hours and I will just list as many things or take as many photos as I can. And then I schedule it out for 2 to 3 weeks ahead. So I typically have $150 to $200 a day listing on eBay continuously. So I keep that pipeline full all the time. And that to me is the way that it works best for me. It may not work best for everybody, but pick a couple items. Even if you're just doing if you're doing 1 item a day, you're helping your site. Exactly. If you're just doing a little bit every day, you're doing
something. Here we go, Dave. Let's do it.
So let's list it. I'm going to go and figure out after this. By tomorrow, I will have the hats and the sword listed. I got to test the Wii. I got to figure out.
You got to have that ready to go now. We're challenging each other. Our little things.
I would, of course, have grabbed the hardest thing to test, but yeah, I'll do it. I'll get it done. So,
this was sourced today. So
yeah, and I have a box full of Wii parts that I haven't even got to, and I have trade paperbacks that I bought from a comic book store that was going out of business in Tuscaloosa that I still haven't gotten to. So I do have a death pile that I still need to get to, but it's just stuff that it just takes a while. So I'm gonna make that challenge. I will get these things listed, and we'll show everybody that it can be done. But honestly, Wes, you think about it, it's really not a death pile. It's delayed income. So if we would, the stuff that we list, you're going to make that money back, and that gives you more opportunity to go buy something else. Very simple. So simple math. Got anything else you want to add?
That's it. Hey, and if anybody's out there that's into reselling or you're doing reselling, challenge yourself, join us, and grab some of those things and get them up for sale. We'll see how we do.
Yeah, leave a comment and tell us what you did. So that way we can look. Hey, we'll tell everybody to go look at your stores. So but anyway, and that's the flipping truth with Wes and David. So we appreciate you guys being here. And listen, we're challenging you to the same thing. Go find a few items. Go list those things right away out of your money pile, and leave a comment. Tell us what you did. Tell us your store. We'll go take a look at it. So we can all hold ourselves accountable for this week, and all list a few things out of our death pile that we've been sitting on. So we'll be back next week with some other ideas that we're having and things that we're doing in reselling, and talk a little bit more. Thanks, Wes.
All right, Dave. We'll see you later, my friend.
We'll see you.